Hey, what's going on, friends? This is another one with Fun with Azure Synapse Studio part 15. And this is the fourth part in our DevOps series. So, real quick agenda here. So, last time we looked basically at the CI/CD process. We discussed this visual quite in detail. So, there is some pieces of work left that we need to perform so that we can actually use all of these artifacts. So one piece of work that we need to do is we generate a Spark pool on the dev side, on the dev workspace, right? Synapse Workspace. And we also need to create a complete QA workspace, which then acts as a destination for our deployment. So let me head over and start with the Spark pool for dev. And we'll get this beauty on the road. So this is my dev workspace. So to generate a Spark pool within a Synapse Workspace, there's basically two ways of doing this. I think I already showed this in a prior video in that series. So one way is go into Manage and Apache Spark, then hit the New button here, and then this is where all the stuff is being listed, and just fill it out and go from there. That's one way of doing it through a GUI type of mechanism. But there's also another one when you go to the actual resource group in Azure, and basically to the dev workspace, right, that we have, and on this overview page on top, you see those new Apache Spark pool, new dedicated SQL pool, new Data Explorer pool, yada yada yada, right? So this is basically compute that can be added here in the Azure portal. And since I already showed the Synapse Studio, at this time I want to use this. But you can see this is pretty much the same thing, obviously. Spark Dev 001. And don't pay attention to my naming. This is not really important here. And I want to keep this like relatively small so that the bill is not causing any heart attacks. So want to make sure there. And then what we do have here, so just to note some of those. So I'm gonna go node size, family. We have memory optimized, hardware accelerated. I'm gonna go with memory optimized for now. These selections here, they depend a bit on your workload, right? So depending on your workload, you may need to look into those a bit more closely. Mine for now, I just want to show sort of the process. I don't have to deal with that closely, but you can see here medium, large, X large. Obviously the larger the more you pay, but the more powerful they are, right? So keep those things in mind. Auto scale, typically we want to have that enabled, and here we say in what range we want to auto scale. So from 3 to 6 nodes, right? And this can go up to like, see here, 189 nodes. So we want to be very careful there, and bump this back down to 6 nodes. And then dynamically allocate executions or executors. This is also very important for performance. It's more like an advanced setting when you think of it, but I'm gonna put it to 4. Basically telling it to allow to do some parallel execution. I'm not being able to change this now. 4 is actually the highest that I can change here. 5 is the highest. Okay, 4, 5. So this number here, in contrast to the other one above, is not. I cannot change it when I'm in the box. So this one I have to change basically with that slider. Let's do it 1 to 3. 1 to 3 is fine. And then you see here the estimated cost per hour per node, right? And here's some pricing details. Okay, so we go further. We definitely want to enable the auto pausing. 15 minutes seems good. in some situations, especially when it's sort of an ad hoc workload with multiple folks, I would actually increase this a bit here, like to 60 minutes. Otherwise, you may have to wait occasionally till it wakes up again, depending on your specific use case. 3.2 has a lot of additional features here, but it's still in preview. So I'm gonna go with 3.1 for now, but 3.2 is definitely something we wanna keep in mind, because there's a lot of good new features coming in, which actually we should separately have a video and look at that at some point. Okay, so the Spark configuration, we don't have here. You can actually upload like specific Spark configurations. We're not doing that here. You can learn more about this here. There are some ways of basically customizing a Spark cluster. If need be, then check it out here. I'm not doing that for that purpose here. And then here, enable, disable, configure settings, packages for this pool is enabled. Yeah, caching, definitely an important performance type of consideration. I'm not going to enable it as of now. It also is cost relevant, so I want to be careful there. Then I just go through it. I mean, this is pretty standard. So, and then at some point I need to hit that create button, and then that is done. And this, I'm not, it might be important to understand this. I'm not adding this to the repository, because I want this to be available basically out of the box to that workspace. Right now, we could build a different repository for infrastructure artifacts, because at the end of the day, this is an infrastructure artifact, right? A Spark pool, a compute pool. But we first want to deal with the pipelines, and if I have time in a later section, then we can also worry about or take care of the actually infrastructure deployment with Azure DevOps. But definitely a lower priority on my side. Okay, so this is done. So when I go back into the respective workspace, and hopefully I picked the correct one. Let me go here and develop, monitor, manage. So monitor, right? And then I pass Spark pool, and you see it's appearing here. And those are the sections chosen there. And then let me see if we have, we do have one notebook. And then let me attach this notebook here. And I just want to spit it up real quick to see if we get some results here. And this is going to take a while till it's spin up. Let's check what else we have to do. So we did that. So let me change that to green. Okay. And then create a QA workspace. Oh my goodness, we have even more work to do. So let me go back while this is cooking here. Let me go back here to Azure, right? So this is done. Go out of here, go back here, and then those are the. I like to use that filter feature here, so I'm just grabbing the second part of the names, and then I go back here, and then I paste that one in, and I should see two of them. Exactly right. So in our first video on this series with the DevOps, we actually generated already a QA resource group. So what I'm going to do now is basically just generate a second workspace. Sorry, Synapse Workspace. So Synapse, and if I can type today, that is definitely helpful. Synapse Analytics, and then just go through that. I mean, I think we went through this already, but obviously I need to have the proper resource group, and this is already selected. QA Synapse, yep, that's the correct one. We don't need to provide that. We let Azure manage that. That's fine. workspace name. Let's stay close to what we have in terms of naming convention here. So here we said dev Synapse fun with Azure, right? Let me see if I can copy and paste this somewhere. Okay, and then we just change the dev to QA. Let me go over here. Okay, QA, and already was kind of complaining, hey, this already exists. We definitely want to have this. Where do we have this, by the way? So see, now sometimes it's kind of fun when you in the middle of deployment. You always need to have a couple of windows open, so that if any information is needed from a current process, you can quickly look this up through the other window. Okay, let's go over here. I think we still have that in memory. We do, and then I need to remove that. Where did we deploy that to? I think is it East US? Okay, I think East US makes sense also for QA. Doesn't have to be, but it does make sense. So East US, pick that one here, and I'm assuming that we go out of here. The resource group itself is also in the East US. Yeah. That's something often forgotten, that hey, make sure it's all in the same region, so that you're not paying for egress charges eventually. And then this is a storage account name, and I want to make sure I apply sort of the same naming conventions. So let me go out of here again. I'm going into dev, and then here we have dev lake. Okay. So I'm copying that and say create new, and then instead of dev up front, obviously we want to have a QA. Okay, and then put that there. Here we can use the same. FSO is fine with me. Okay, for file system name, and then we definitely want to have that enabled. I was talking about this last time. Make sure when you add others, make sure they have block contributor data, block contributor permissions, so they have means to access this. So a little bit of a password here for an admin account. So let me give that, and so we have that. For now, we're gonna accept the defaults here. That's all fine. I spoke to this last time when we did this, right? This is not like a fully productionized environment. So from a networking and connectivity perspective, this is a demo environment and not a production environment. Please keep that in mind. So, and I think I'm in the process of getting this done. So I create. So now we have it out there, and that when I think of that visual that we showed last time, right? So what we basically added is this here, this icon here, that Spark pool. That serverless pool was already there, right? We don't have to do anything. This is already out of the box there. And then we did that down here entirely, right? Now what's still left though is we need to add a Spark pool on the QA side, right? So let me make a note here. So no Spark pool yet, and we're gonna do that for sure later. There's a reason why I'm doing this a bit later, just so you're aware. But okay, so let me green that one, and then let's keep the Spark pool in mind, and then we have that one done as well. Okay, so let me go back and see how the Spark pool that we provisioned in dev is working. So if, and here we go, hello Synapse, right? This is working, and now it's also a bit faster. Okay, so this pool is operational. You see it's ready. And then where's my other piece? Develop. Here's my other script. And then there's built-in. So this is the serverless SQL pool, right? And obviously this is not a runnable SQL statement, but if you do a select version, this should give you something. For those of you who work with SQL Server, that's a very known command, and here's what we get. Okay, so Azure RTM, and we basically see it's working, which is all I wanted to test. So we have compute working, we have it hooked up with DevOps. Coming back to here, so we have this dev is actually ready now, really for next steps. So what we do next time, there's one thing that I should do real quick, and basically I goofed this one up. So when I go into here, this is the associated project. So I go into repos and branches. So this test branch I generated at some point just to play around with this stuff. So let me go in here and delete this branch. Right now we want to be very careful with operations like this, guys. Right? Delete is also a pretty advanced permission on the DevOps side. Normally you would not have this, but because I'm the owner of this project, I have also delete branch permissions. But this is more like the exception. But we have a feature branch now. We have a master. So what we're starting in the next video, now that we have pretty much all the pieces for this lab set up, is basically making sure the feature branch 001 is entirely set up. I don't see the pipeline in here, so I think we need to have the pipeline. There's a SQL script, right? And I see a notebook, which is good. And the when you look at the notebook here, so this is already been committed in earlier videos, right? In case you're asking why is that appearing here, because we already committed that in earlier videos. But here's Hello Synapse. So here's basically the actual script. And here's all the other information that the platform needs to get it working. Is there a linked service included? There is 2 files here, and then we have a SQL script, which should be even simpler, right? This is the test script, DDD, yeah. But see, we didn't commit the change that I did like a second ago with the version. We didn't commit that one yet. So let me let me remove that one, and then where's the commit here? So let me commit this. So committed this successfully, and so if we go back, this should have come through. And keep in mind, this should only be in the feature branch, right? Because the commit occurred to the feature branch. Okay, let me go here. So we're still 2 ahead. Let me make sure this is even here. So SQL script and that, and we see here it's here, right? Select version. So that's good. So we have that updated, but I still need to work some out in terms of basically adding a pipeline that allows us to call at least a notebook. And I want to rename this notebook and see how this works. So next time we're gonna go more into actual development, and then how to maybe add a bit more code to the notebook, and then go over here to develop, integrate, and then this should be where we create a pipeline and go from there. But yeah, let's do that next time. I think this one is good. So real quick, we did create a Spark pool in dev. We tested it. It's there. It's working. We also verified actually that the serverless pool is there and working, right? So that's another, and the serverless SQL pool is working. And then we created a QA workspace, and let me verify this real quick that we have that. And you see here already deployment is complete. Let's go out of there. And then here, this is the QA Synapse Workspace. And just so you know, in case you're wondering, we're not going to configure this against the DevOps project, obviously, right? So this is already depicted in that visual here. So there's only a connection from the dev resource group to Azure DevOps, right? All other like downstream type of environments, QA, pre-prod, prod, or whatever else of requirements in terms of environments you're gonna have, they're not gonna be connected, right? So they only retrieve code through those release pipelines, right? That's the idea. Keep that in mind. Let's go back here. So see, this is the QA workspace. So from that perspective, then what I just said, this should be in Synapse Live mode, and it is, right? Because here nothing is configured, and we won't configure that, right? Okay, so this is good, and obviously there is still a Spark pool missing. To that we come later. But this is good for our next steps in here, where we basically use that QA Synapse Workspace as number 8 to host this destination here, and then push stuff out once we go through 4, 5, and 6 in the next videos. All right, that's it. Hope that was helpful. Leave me a comments, push a like button or a dislike button depending on your preference. And talk to you soon. Have a good one. Cheers, guys.